Right, welcome ladies and gents. Let's review MaXXXine. This is the third and final, supposedly, entry in the X film series from Ty West. It went X, then a prequel, Pearl, and then a sequel to it all, MaXXXine. Now, if you've seen the trailers, you kind of know what this film is about. And if you've watched X, and you liked X, but you weren't such a fan of Pearl, you will much a higher appreciation for MaXXXine. MaXXXine is like X. It's more like X than it is like Pearl. So, we know what this is about. It's from the trailers. Something from MaXXXine Minx's past comes back to haunt her, and it references some elements of X. You do have to have watched X to enjoy MaXXXine, I think, personally. You can just enjoy it by itself. I went to the film with someone who hadn't watched X, and they perfectly enjoyed it. They thought it was a pretty decent film, to be honest. They really liked it. So you don't have to have watched X to have all of the appreciation for this film. Just straight off, got to say that. Now, I really enjoyed this film. I thought this was a really good film. So the music, because there is set in the 80s, so music is a big part of this film, is by Tyler Bates. There's some original score in there, and there's also a soundtrack, which is, of course, an 80s soundtrack, and it's fantastic. It blends really seamlessly, actually. Really well done. The cinematographer is Elliot Rocket, and of course the director is Ty West. Now, the cinematography is really good, actually. Stand out. Love the cinematography. Love how everything's been clearly storyboarded to a T and just edited together in such a way. It's very unique. Very unique. But there's some really interesting elements of the cinematography. So, non-spoilers, but at some point in the film, MaXXXine has a flashback to earlier parts of the film, MaXXXine, as her memory, right? And in the flashback, it's shown as it would be on an 80s TV, which I think is a really clever touch. Now, what I mean by that is when we have flashbacks, we tend to dramatize them in our brains, right? We're viewing them as we would like a movie. Sometimes, not always, obviously, I understand that. But say MaXXXine is doing this sort of dramatization in her head as a flashback, as a movie type deal, and she's seeing it through the lens of a TV screen. And it's really smart. And it's different to what we see in the film itself. Because the film itself isn't shot in terms of, choppy grain and stuff like this as an 80s film. It's 80s, and it's set in the 80s, but it's not shot like the 80s. So when she dramatizes in a flashback and it comes across like the 80s, it's really impactful, really smart. That thing it just stood out to me. I loved it. Anyway, we know what this film was about. Like I said, it's something from MaXXXine's past, referencing X, comes back to haunt her. The trailer makes it out like it's the Night Stalker, it's a murderer, it's a slasher. And there is a lot of slashing and slashing and gashing in this film, right? It is brutal. It is absolutely brutal. You watch heads get shotgunned apart, so you're very brutal. You watch nut sacks get stomped on. Ugh. Brutal. Really brutal. You watch eyes get gouged out. Pentagrams cut into people's bodies. Like, it's really gross. Like, it's actually quite a bloody and gory film. I think we're somewhat desensitized to blood and gore, though, and maybe it's not massively impactful. I found it quite gory. The person I was with was like, oh, it wasn't that bloody. Why was it R-rated? I was like, sorry, what? Are you joking? We watched a person get crushed in a car and blood and guts everywhere, and that was not gory. So I think some people may think that, hey, it's not actually that gory. But let's talk about the performances. Mia Goth, the scream queen now of horror, right? And funnily enough, in the film, trying to become a scream queen for 80s America. Mia Goth is a fantastic actor. Such a unique look to her as well. Like a really unique looking actor. Attractive, of course, but very unique looking. And I think that only adds to her sort of star presence. And she does have star presence. When she's on screen, you are clued up. You're interested. You're watching. What is going on here? She has screen presence. She's a great star. And she'll go on to do so many more things. She's a star. She's really cool. Halsey is in this, that singer. Meh, you're blinking, you miss it. Elizabeth Debicki's in this. Good to see her getting more and more roles now. She's sort of been in and out of mainstream films here and there. And someone who, whenever is in something, gives it her all. And she's really, really good, but she just isn't in a lot of stuff, which is a shame. Lily Collins is in this. She's really good. Again, arguably a bigger star than Mia Goth, I think. Maybe. But someone that, you know, some people may dispute that for sure. But a great actor. Good performance in this. You got Kevin Bacon. Fantastic performance. Just chewing up the scene. Loving life, Kevin Bacon is. Absolutely loving life. And that's kind of about it, really. Giancarlo Esposito is in this. With a very interesting hairpiece. This is probably the first performance of Giancarlo Esposito that I was looking at and wasn't seeing Gus Fring. Genuinely. It was a really good performance actually from him. And I think largely in part, a lot of it is the hair. I think a lot of it's the hair. Maybe. We'll see. I love this film. I think this is a really, really good film. Won't be for everyone. Pacing was really solid. But I think you have to be pretty entrenched in the film itself and bought into what they're trying to sell you. It's quite a unique film. Cinematography, music, setting, story. It's not bang, 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 quick pace. You know, it's a little bit of a slow burn here and there. And some of the twists and turns you could probably see coming, I guess. Some people probably could. But you're there for the ride. And you know what's so funny about this? Mia Goth is a strong, badass woman in this. And you buy it all. This is how a strong, badass woman should be. Earns it. Genuinely earns it. Earned it in X. Definitely earns it in MaXXXine. It's just dripping with 80s sleaze and glam and sort of retro neon synth. Love it. I'm here for it. So I really enjoyed MaXXXine. Strong recommendation. I can't find the budget that it had. I know it was significantly more than X, but X had a tiny budget, and I know Pearl had a tiny budget. So I don't know. But will it make its money back? I think so, to be honest. Will we see more from Ty West? I hope so. I thought this was a really, really decent film. And I'd like to see more like this, because it's unique. You know, people complain and they bitch and they moan that we don't have anything new and good and fresh. Go watch this. It is new. It is good. It is fresh. Is it going to be for everyone? No. But you can't bitch and moan if you're not going to support films that are different and are unique. And are, you know, original. Because this is original. Anyway, I'd love to hear your thoughts if you've seen it. Let me know what you think down below. Cheers, guys. Take care. Bye-bye now.